Hello and welcome. My name is Tristyn Hatch. Today I want to discuss a framework that has been central to my development as a language teacher and a global citizen, the ACTFL World Readiness Standards for Learning Languages. These standards are a blueprint for fostering global competence and applying language skills in a meaningful way. The core of this framework is represented by the five C's: communication, cultures, connections, comparisons, and communities. Rather than just academic concepts, they are the foundation for using language in real world contexts. Let's explore each one in detail, and I'll share how they have shaped my own journey as a student and educator. These standards were created to stress the application of language learning beyond the classroom. The ultimate goal is to prepare learners to apply these skills to their future careers and experiences, and to bring a global competence to their lives. I find that they perfectly align with my own professional goal of fostering culturally aware, humanitarian, and success driven academic careers. Now, let's dive into each standard individually. The first C is communication, which is about communicating effectively in more than one language for multiple purposes. The standard is broken down into three modes, reflecting the different ways we engage with language. The goal is to move beyond rote memorization to truly using the language to connect with others. First, we have interpersonal communication. This is the art of interacting and negotiating meaning in real time, whether spoken, signed, or written. Think about having a conversation, a text exchange, or a video call. It's about spontaneous interaction to share information, reactions, feelings, and opinions. Next is interpretive communication. This is about understanding, interpreting, and analyzing what is heard, read, or viewed. This could be anything from listening to a podcast or watching a film to reading an article or a poem. It's how we make sense of the world through the language. Finally, we have presentational communication, which is about presenting information, concepts, and ideas to inform, explain, persuade, or narrate. This is a one way communication to an audience of listeners, readers, or viewers. As a graduate teaching assistant for Spanish 101, I create lessons that promote interpersonal conversation and analyze short stories to practice interpretive skills and have students present skits to build their confidence. The second C is cultures. This standard focuses on developing cultural competence and understanding by investigating the relationship between a culture's products and practices and its perspectives. It's about looking beneath the surface to understand the why behind what a culture does. A cultural product could be a tangible item like a text, a painting, a building, or a piece of music, but it can also be an intangible product like a legal code or a form of government. A cultural practice is a behavior like eating a certain meal, celebrating a holiday, or participating in a social ritual. The perspective is the underlying belief, value, or idea that guides a culture's products and practices. My education abroad experiences in Spain and Peru were transformative because they went beyond just tourism. I investigated Catalan identity during the Spanish Civil War through texts and essays, which are cultural products, and this allowed me to understand the perspectives behind them. When I volunteered on a water distribution project in Peru, it was a cultural practice that deepened my understanding of the community's values and resilience. The third C is connections. This standard encourages learners to connect with other disciplines and acquire diverse perspectives. It's about using language as a tool to expand knowledge and develop critical thinking skills. It moves language from a standalone subject to an integral part of a broader educational experience. This can happen in two ways. First, by making connections, we build and expand our knowledge of other subjects, from history to science, while using the target language. Second, by acquiring information and diverse perspectives, we access and evaluate information that is only available through the language and its cultures. My research project, De los Andes a Iberia, is a perfect example of this standard. I wasn't just analyzing Spanish, I was connecting it to the fields of sociology and anthropology. By studying the influence of indigenous Andean languages like Quechua and Peruvian Spanish, I was able to acquire a new and diverse perspective on language itself and on the history of the region. The fourth C is comparisons. This is where learners develop insights into the nature of both language and culture by comparing the language they're studying with their own. This helps us reflect on our own language and cultural norms and see them from a new perspective. When we notice similarities and differences, we become more aware of our own linguistic and cultural identity. This standard also has two parts: language comparisons and cultural comparisons. Through my De los Andes a Iberia project, I not only studied the sociolinguistic dynamics of Spanish, but also gained a deeper appreciation for how dialects and accents in English have developed. The simple act of comparing the grammar, vocabulary, and cultural nuances of Spanish and English has made me a more insightful and effective communicator in both languages. Additionally, comparing my experiences in Spain and Peru with my life in the United States has helped me to better understand the concept of culture and how my own culture's perspectives are just one of many ways of viewing the world. The final C is communities. This standard emphasizes using language both within and beyond the classroom. It's about communicating and interacting with cultural competence in real world settings to become a part of a global community. The goal is for language learning to continue throughout a person's life for enjoyment, enrichment, and career advancement. My role as a Spanish instructor at a local elementary school directly applies this standard. I'm using my language skills to foster a love for Spanish and its cultures in a real world community. My experiences go beyond the classroom as well. At a previous job at a Mexican dulceria, it allowed me to maintain and develop my fluency by speaking with most customers in Spanish. These experiences show me that language learning is not confined to just a classroom. It's a lifelong pursuit that is deeply rooted in the communities we live in, whether it's our local community or the global one. In conclusion, the ACTFL World Readiness Standards are not just a theory. They are a practical guide for how to become a globally competent individual. They've given me a clear path to not just become a fluent speaker, but to become a culturally competent, connected, and community minded professional. My experiences in the classroom, abroad, and in my community have all been enriched by this framework. It has shown me that teaching a language is about empowering students to make a real world impact. Thank you.